name is Jessica Martinez, and I'm 24 years old. One sweltering Phoenix afternoon, my father screamed, "You'll never amount to anything," as he threw my laptop bag into the dusty parking lot of his auto repair shop. I drove away in my beaten-up Honda, tears mixing with the desert heat on my face. 24 hours later, I was sitting across from him in a glass conference room in Austin, signing the acquisition papers that made his failing business a subsidiary of my tech company. Sometimes the people who crush your dreams become the very reason you build an empire. Sometimes the moment someone tells you that you're worthless becomes the catalyst that proves you're invaluable. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. I grew up in Tempe, Arizona, in a neighborhood where the houses all looked the same, and everyone knew everyone else's business. Our street was lined with palm trees that never seemed to provide enough shade, and the summer heat would make the asphalt shimmer like water. My father, Robert Martinez, owned Martinez Auto Repair, a small shop he'd built from nothing after immigrating from Guadalajara 25 years earlier. The shop was his pride, his proof that hard work and calloused hands could create something lasting in America. Dad was a man of few words but strong opinions. He believed in tangible work, the kind where you could see grease under your fingernails at the end of the day and know you'd accomplished something real. He fixed engines, rebuilt transmissions, and could diagnose car problems just by listening to the sound they made. To him, this was honest work, respectable work, the foundation upon which our family's American dream was built. My mother, Carmen, balanced his intensity with quiet warmth. She worked part-time at a local elementary school as a teaching assistant and spent her evenings helping neighborhood kids with their homework at our kitchen table. She had gentle hands that could soothe any worry and a laugh that could fill our small house with joy. Mom understood Dad's drive but also saw the world beyond the repair shop, encouraging my brother Daniel and me to dream bigger than the neighborhood boundaries. Daniel was 4 years older and seemed to inherit Dad's mechanical instincts naturally. By 16, he could replace an alternator faster than most certified mechanics. He was Dad's apprentice, his heir apparent, the son who would carry the Martinez name forward in the automotive world. Daniel never questioned this path because it fit him perfectly. He found satisfaction in the methodical process of taking broken things and making them whole again. Then there was me. While Daniel was in the garage getting his hands dirty, I was in my room teaching myself about websites, social media algorithms, and digital marketing strategies. I was fascinated by how businesses could reach thousands of customers with the right message, the right platform, the right timing. I spent hours analyzing successful campaigns, learning graphic design software, and understanding how the internet was changing the way people discovered and chose services. During high school, I started managing social media accounts for local businesses as a side project. Mrs. Henderson's Bakery saw a 40% increase in weekend sales after I redesigned her Instagram strategy. The neighborhood hair salon doubled their appointment bookings when I created targeted Facebook ads for them. I was making money from my laptop while my classmates were asking their parents for gas money, but Dad saw this as playing games on the computer, not real work. The tension started small. Dad would make comments about me spending too much time staring at screens, instead of learning practical skills. He'd suggest I help in the shop during summers instead of working on my digital projects. "Computers break down," he'd say, wiping his hands on a greasy rag. "But people will always need their cars fixed. That's job security." I respected his perspective, but I could see changes happening that he refused to acknowledge. Customers were finding his shop through online reviews, not word of mouth. Competitors were stealing business because they had better websites and responded faster to inquiries. The automotive industry was evolving, and Dad's refusal to embrace technology was slowly killing his business, though he'd never admit it. When I graduated high school, I chose to study marketing at Arizona State University instead of joining Daniel at the community college's automotive program. Dad accepted this decision reluctantly, hoping I'd eventually see the impracticality of my chosen field and return to something more concrete. He paid for my education but made it clear he considered it an expensive detour rather than an investment in my future. College opened my world in ways I hadn't expected. I discovered that my instincts about digital marketing were not only correct but ahead of the curve. Professors praised my understanding of consumer psychology and online behavior. I landed internships with established marketing firms, and consistently outperformed classmates who had more traditional academic backgrounds but less practical experience. During my junior year, I started freelancing more seriously, building a client base that included restaurants, retail stores, and service businesses throughout the Phoenix metro area. My income from these projects exceeded what many of my friends were making at part-time jobs, but Dad remained unimpressed. Making money is not the same as building something lasting, he'd remind me during our increasingly strained dinner conversations. The real problems began after graduation. While Daniel was officially promoted to shop manager and started talking about marriage and buying a house near Mom and Dad, I was accepted into the marketing program at a prestigious firm in Austin. The opportunity represented everything I'd worked toward, a chance to learn from industry leaders while developing campaigns for major national brands. Dad's reaction was swift and decisive. "Austin, you want to abandon your family for some corporate job that could disappear tomorrow?" His voice carried a disappointment that cut deeper than anger. "We built this business so our children would have security, not so they could chase fantasies in other states." Mom tried to mediate, suggesting I could work remotely or find similar opportunities locally, but I could see the writing on the wall. Dad viewed my career ambitions as rejection of everything he'd sacrificed to provide for us. In his mind, I was choosing the uncertain world of technology over the solid foundation he'd built with his own hands. The Austin position would have been life-changing, but family pressure and guilt convinced me to decline. Instead, I took a job with TechFlow Solutions, a small digital. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Marketing agency in Phoenix that promised growth opportunities and flexible scheduling. The salary was decent, and I could stay close to family while building my professional experience. TechFlow's office was in a converted warehouse in downtown Phoenix, all exposed brick and modern furniture that tried too hard to look creative. My boss, Helen Rodriguez, was a former corporate executive who'd started the agency after getting tired of bureaucratic limitations at larger firms. She was demanding but fair, pushing her small team to produce work that competed with agencies 10 times our size. I thrived in this environment. Within 6 months, I was managing major accounts and developing strategies that consistently exceeded client expectations. A local restaurant chain saw their delivery orders increase by 300% after I redesigned their online ordering system and social media presence. A boutique hotel's occupancy rates jumped 25% following a targeted digital campaign I created, highlighting their unique desert location and authentic Southwestern experience. My success at TechFlow should have been a source of family pride, but Dad remained skeptical of work that didn't involve physical labor or tangible products. He'd ask about my projects, but his questions carried an undertone of doubt about their real value. "People clicking on websites doesn't seem like real business to me," he'd say, not understanding that those clicks translated into actual revenue for real companies. The disconnect became more pronounced as Martinez Auto Repair struggled with declining business. Dad's customer base was aging, and younger car owners were choosing chain shops with better online presence and more convenient scheduling systems. His Yelp reviews were sparse and often complained about difficulty reaching the shop by phone or getting timely estimates. Meanwhile, I watched him lose potential customers daily because his website looked like it hadn't been updated since 2005. I offered to help modernize his marketing approach, suggesting simple improvements that could make immediate differences. "Dad, let me redesign your website and set up online appointment scheduling. I can create social media profiles that showcase your expertise and build trust with potential customers." My proposals were thorough and professional, backed by case studies from similar businesses I'd helped transform. His response was always the same dismissive wave. "I've been successful for 20 years without needing computers to find customers. Good work speaks for itself." He refused to acknowledge that the business landscape had fundamentally changed, that potential customers now research services online before making decisions, that his competitors were capturing market share simply by being more visible and accessible. The situation reached a breaking point during a family dinner in late spring. Daniel mentioned that several longtime customers had mentioned trying other shops because they couldn't easily reach Martinez Auto Repair during business hours. The phone system was outdated, appointments were scheduled on paper calendars that created confusion, and there was no way for customers to check service status or request estimates outside of business hours. I saw this as the perfect opportunity to demonstrate how digital solutions could solve these exact problems. Dad, these are simple fixes. I could have an online scheduling system set up by next week and a customer portal where people can track their service requests. Your competitors are getting business just because they're easier to work with, not because they're better mechanics. Instead of seeing the logic in my suggestions, Dad exploded with frustration that had been building for months. There you go again, thinking computers can solve everything. You don't understand real business, Jessica. You play with websites and social media like they're toys. But I deal with real problems for real people every single day. The argument escalated quickly, with years of mutual misunderstanding pouring out in harsh words. Dad accused me of looking down on his work and rejecting the values that built our family's success. I fought back by pointing out that his stubborn refusal to adapt was destroying the business he claimed to protect. Mom tried to calm us down, but the damage was already done. You think you're so smart with your college degree and your computer skills, Dad said, his voice rising with each word. But you've never built anything real, never created something that lasts. You just push buttons and call it work. That's when something inside me snapped. At least I'm not watching my business die because I'm too proud to learn new things. I shot back. You're losing customers every day because you refuse to accept that the world has changed. The silence that followed was deafening. Dad's face went through several expressions before settling on cold disappointment. If you think my business is such a failure, maybe you should focus on your own career instead of criticizing mine. I left that dinner knowing our relationship had shifted permanently. The easy closeness we'd shared when I was younger had been replaced by a fundamental disagreement about what constituted valuable work and meaningful success. Dad saw my career as frivolous, while I viewed his approach as self-destructive stubbornness. Over the following weeks, I threw myself into work with renewed intensity. Helen Rodriguez noticed my increased focus and started assigning me higher-profile projects. I developed a campaign for a regional chain of auto parts stores that increased their online sales by 60% in 3 months. The irony wasn't lost on me that I was succeeding in automotive-adjacent marketing while my father's actual automotive business continued struggling. The catalyst that would change everything arrived on a Tuesday morning in June, disguised as opportunity. Tyler Richardson walked into TechFlow Solutions, wearing a perfectly tailored navy suit, and carrying himself with the kind of confidence that comes from never having been told no. He was 28, originally from California, and represented a venture capital firm looking to invest in promising southwestern marketing agencies. Helen Rodriguez had been courting investors for months, hoping to expand TechFlow's capabilities and compete for larger national accounts. Tyler's firm, Richardson Capital Partners, specialized in identifying and funding digital marketing companies with strong growth potential. His initial meeting with Helen went exceptionally well, and within a week, he was spending significant time at our office, analyzing our processes and client relationships. Tyler was everything my father would have disapproved of in a business partner. He drove a silver Tesla Model S, wore expensive watches, and spoke in corporate buzzwords about synergy and market disruption. Yet there was something undeniably appealing about his vision for the future. He talked about scaling operations, leveraging cutting-edge technology, and positioning TechFlow as a regional powerhouse that could eventually compete with agencies in Los Angeles and New York. During his 3rd week of due diligence, Tyler began taking special interest in my work. He'd sit in on my client presentations, ask detailed questions about my campaign strategies, and praise my innovative approaches to audience targeting. "You have an intuitive understanding of consumer psychology that can't be taught," he told me after watching me present a comprehensive rebranding strategy to a struggling retail chain. "That kind of natural talent is exactly what we're looking for in our portfolio companies." His attention was flattering in ways I hadn't expected. Most of my professional relationships had been built slowly, through demonstrated competence and earned respect. Tyler's immediate recognition of my abilities felt validating after years of having my career choice questioned by family members who didn't understand the digital marketing landscape. Helen noticed Tyler's interest in my work and began positioning me as one of TechFlow's key assets during investor meetings. "Jessica represents the future of our industry," she'd say. highlighting my track record with local businesses and my ability to adapt quickly to changing algorithms and platform updates. She's the kind of strategic thinker who can help us dominate the southwestern market. Tyler's presence at the office became increasingly frequent, and our professional interactions gradually evolved into something more personal. He'd arrive early to discuss industry trends over coffee, stay late to review campaign performance data, and find reasons to extend our conversations beyond strictly business topics. His knowledge of marketing was impressive, but more importantly, he seemed genuinely interested in my perspectives and ideas. The turning point came during a client dinner at an upscale steakhouse in Scottsdale. Tyler had invited me to help present our services to a potential major account, a luxury resort chain looking to increase their direct bookings through enhanced digital presence. The presentation went flawlessly, with the client expressing enthusiasm for our proposed strategy and timeline. After the clients left, Tyler and I remained at the restaurant, discussing the successful meeting over drinks. The conversation gradually shifted from business to personal topics, and I found myself sharing details about my family background and the challenges of building a career in an industry my father didn't understand or respect. "You're incredibly talented, Jessica," Tyler said, his voice carrying a sincerity that made my heart race. "But you're wasting your potential in a small market like Phoenix. Companies like yours should be in Austin or Denver, working with clients who can afford to think bigger." His words echoed thoughts I'd been having but hadn't dared voice aloud. Phoenix's business community was growing, but it still felt limited compared to the opportunities available in major tech hubs. Tyler painted a picture of possibilities that extended far beyond anything I'd imagined for my career. That night marked the beginning of a relationship that blurred the lines between professional mentorship and personal romance. Tyler was sophisticated in ways that impressed me, knowledgeable about art, wine, and travel destinations I'd only seen in magazines. He took me to gallery openings, where Phoenix's cultural elite discussed investments and market trends. He introduced me to restaurant scenes that existed far beyond the casual family establishments where I'd grown up eating. More importantly, Tyler understood my ambitions in ways my family never had. When I expressed frustration about Dad's dismissive attitude toward my career, Tyler listened without judgment and offered perspective from someone who'd built success in the business world. Traditional industries resist change because change threatens their established power structures, he explained during one of our long evening conversations. "Your father's reaction isn't personal, it's defensive." This analysis helped me reframe my family conflicts in broader sociological terms rather than taking Dad's criticism as personal rejection. Tyler's support gave me confidence to pursue increasingly ambitious projects at TechFlow, knowing that someone with his background and connections believed in my capabilities. The investment deal between Richardson Capital Partners and TechFlow moved forward steadily throughout the summer. Tyler's firm offered a significant capital infusion in exchange for a 40% ownership stake, with provisions for additional funding as the company hit specific growth milestones. Helen was thrilled with the terms, which would allow her to hire additional staff, upgrade technology infrastructure, and pursue larger clients. As part of the investment process, Tyler began spending more time reviewing TechFlow's internal operations and strategic planning. He attended staff meetings, analyzed our project management systems, and interviewed team members about their roles and responsibilities. His feedback was generally positive, but he identified several areas where efficiency could be improved through better technology and streamlined processes. Tyler's assessment of my role in the company was particularly enthusiastic. He recommended that Helen promote me to creative director, a newly created position that would give me oversight of all client campaigns and strategic planning responsibilities. The promotion came with a substantial salary increase and the authority to make decisions about project direction and resource allocation. "You're the creative engine that drives this company's success," Tyler told me during the celebration dinner Helen organized to announce my promotion. "This new role just makes official what everyone already knows about your importance to TechFlow's future." The promotion felt like vindication for all the years I'd spent defending my career choice to skeptical family members. Finally, I had the title and compensation that reflected my contributions to the company's success. When I called Mom to share the news, her excitement was genuine and warm. "I'm so proud of what you've accomplished, Misha," she said. "Your hard work is paying off in ways that matter." Dad's reaction was more subdued but still positive. "Congratulations on your promotion," he said, when I stopped by the shop to tell him in person. I may not understand your industry, but I can see that you're good at what you do. It wasn't the enthusiastic celebration I'd hoped for, but it represented progress in our relationship. Tyler's influence on my career development extended beyond the immediate promotion. He began including me in conversations about TechFlow's long-term strategic planning, asking for my input on potential expansion opportunities and new service offerings. His respect for my opinions was intoxicating after years of having my professional judgment questioned or dismissed. During late August, Tyler presented an idea that would fundamentally change my understanding of our relationship and his intentions for TechFlow's future. He'd been analyzing the company's client base and had identified several areas where we could increase revenue through enhanced service packages and premium pricing strategies. The automotive industry is particularly underserved in this market, he explained during a private strategy session in Helen's office. Most shops and dealerships are using outdated marketing approaches that don't leverage digital opportunities effectively. There's enormous potential for an agency that specializes in automotive marketing services. His analysis was thorough and compelling. Phoenix's automotive sector included hundreds of independent repair shops, several major dealerships, and numerous specialty service providers. Most of these businesses had minimal online presence and relied heavily on traditional advertising methods that provided limited measurability and targeting capabilities. Tyler's proposal involved creating a dedicated automotive marketing division within TechFlow, with specialized services designed specifically for car-related businesses. The division would offer comprehensive digital marketing packages including website development, search engine optimization, social media management, and online review systems. Jessica would be perfect to lead this initiative, Tyler told Helen. Her understanding of consumer behavior and her local market knowledge make her ideal for developing relationships with automotive clients. Plus, there's probably some family connection that could provide credibility in the industry. The suggestion that my father's business could serve as a case study for the automotive division felt like an elegant solution to multiple problems. If I could successfully modernize Martinez Auto Repair's marketing approach, it would demonstrate our capabilities to other potential automotive clients, while potentially improving my relationship with Dad through professional collaboration. Helen loved the idea and authorized me to develop a comprehensive proposal for the automotive marketing division. Tyler offered to help with market research and competitive analysis, using his firm's resources to gather data about industry trends and pricing strategies. Working closely with him on this project deepened our professional partnership and personal relationship. The proposal we developed was impressive by any measure. We identified 47 potential automotive clients within a 20-mile radius of downtown Phoenix, analyzed their current marketing approaches, and projected revenue increases they could achieve through enhanced digital presence. The financial projections showed that even modest improvements in online visibility and customer engagement could generate substantial return on marketing investment. Martinez Auto Repair became our primary case study, though I hadn't yet discussed the project with Dad. Tyler and I conducted detailed analysis of the shop's current customer acquisition methods, online reputation, and competitive positioning. The results confirmed what I'd suspected for years. Dad was losing significant business due to inadequate digital marketing. His website averaged fewer than 50 visitors per month, compared to hundreds for competitors with similar services and locations. Online reviews were sparse and included several complaints about difficulty scheduling appointments or getting timely responses to inquiries. Social media presence was non-existent, meaning potential customers had no way to see examples of the shop's work or read testimonials from satisfied clients. Your father's business could easily increase revenue by 30 to 40% with proper digital marketing, Tyler concluded after reviewing our analysis. The question is whether he's willing to let you help him succeed. The challenge Tyler identified was accurate. Dad's resistance to technology and digital marketing had been consistent for years, rooted in philosophical objections rather than practical concerns about cost or complexity. Convincing him to participate in our automotive marketing initiative would require overcoming deeply held beliefs about the nature of legitimate business practices. Tyler suggested a strategic approach that would emphasize results rather than methods. Instead of trying to convert Dad to believing in digital marketing, we would focus on demonstrating immediate improvements in measurable business outcomes. If we could show increased appointment bookings, higher customer satisfaction ratings, and improved revenue within the first month, philosophical objections would become harder to maintain. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. I would present the opportunity to Dad as a favor rather than a business proposition. TechFlow needed a local automotive business to serve as a pilot program for our new division, and Martinez Auto Repair was the logical choice due to my family connection and understanding of the business operations. In exchange for serving as our test case, Dad would receive comprehensive digital marketing services at no cost for the first 3 months. After that period, if he was satisfied with the results, he could continue the services at a discounted rate as a family member. If he wasn't satisfied, he could cancel without any financial obligation. Tyler helped me rehearse the presentation, anticipating Dad's likely objections and preparing responses that addressed his concerns while emphasizing the practical benefits. We developed materials that showed specific examples of how other automotive businesses had benefited from similar marketing improvements, including detailed case studies with before and after metrics. The presentation was scheduled for a Saturday morning at the repair shop, when Dad would have time to review our proposal without the distractions of daily business operations. Helen would attend to provide official company credibility, while Tyler would offer investor perspective on industry trends and growth opportunities. I was nervous about the meeting in ways that had nothing to do with professional concerns. This presentation represented more than a business opportunity. It was a chance to prove that my career choice could directly benefit the family business Dad had spent decades building. Success could bridge the gap between our different approaches to work and demonstrate that technology could enhance rather than replace traditional business practices. Tyler seemed to understand the personal stakes involved and provided reassurance during my moments of doubt. "Your father is a smart businessman," he reminded me. "Once he sees the potential impact on his bottom line, practical considerations will outweigh any philosophical objections he might have." The morning of the presentation arrived with typical Phoenix heat, the kind of dry intensity that makes everything feel urgent and immediate. I arrived at Martinez Auto Repair 30 minutes early, wanting to review our materials one final time and mentally prepare for what could be a pivotal moment in my relationship with Dad. The shop looked smaller than I remembered from childhood, with grease stains on the concrete floor and fluorescent lighting that made everything appear slightly yellow. Dad was already there, wearing his usual work clothes and reviewing invoices at a cluttered desk in the corner office. When I walked in carrying presentation materials and my laptop, he looked up with an expression that mixed curiosity with skepticism. "Good morning, Dad," I said, trying to project confidence despite my racing heartbeat. "Thank you for agreeing to listen to our proposal. I think you're going to be surprised by what we've discovered about opportunities in the automotive marketing space." He nodded and gestured toward the metal folding chairs we'd arranged in front of his desk. "Let's see what you've got, Misha. But I want you to know up front that I'm not making any promises about changing how we do business here." Helen and Tyler arrived precisely on time, both dressed professionally, but not so formally as to seem out of place in the automotive environment. Helen carried herself with the confident authority that had made TechFlow successful, while Tyler projected the kind of sophisticated business acumen that had impressed me from our first meeting. Introductions were cordial but brief. Dad shook hands politely but maintained the reserved demeanor he adopted whenever discussing business with people he didn't know well. I could see him evaluating Helen and Tyler, trying to determine whether they were serious professionals or slick salespeople trying to separate him from his money. The presentation began with Helen explaining TechFlow's background and success with local businesses, emphasizing our track record of generating measurable results for clients across various industries. She was careful to avoid technical jargon and focused instead on concrete examples of revenue increases and customer satisfaction improvements. Tyler followed with broader industry analysis, presenting data about digital marketing trends in the automotive sector and explaining how businesses that embraced online customer engagement were capturing market share from competitors who relied solely on traditional marketing methods. His presentation was polished and persuasive, supported by graphs and statistics that made the case for digital transformation seem inevitable. When my turn came to present our specific analysis of Martinez Auto Repair, I felt the weight of years of family tension and professional ambition converging in a single moment. This was my opportunity to demonstrate that my career choice could benefit the business Dad had built with his own hands, potentially healing the rift that had developed between us over different approaches to work and success. The data I presented was compelling and impossible to ignore. Our research showed that Dad was losing an estimated 15 to 20 potential customers per month due to inadequate online presence and difficult-to-navigate appointment scheduling systems. Competitors with similar capabilities but better digital marketing were consistently ranking higher in search results and receiving more positive online reviews. Dad, people aren't finding your business when they search for auto repair services online, I explained, showing him screenshots of Google search results for relevant keywords. When potential customers do find your website, they're leaving without contacting you because the information is outdated and there's no easy way to schedule appointments or request estimates. The presentation included specific recommendations for immediate improvements that could be implemented without disrupting daily business operations. A new responsive website with online scheduling capabilities, active social media profiles showcasing completed work, and a system for encouraging satisfied customers to leave positive reviews online. Dad listened attentively throughout the presentation, asking occasional questions about implementation details and costs. His questions were practical and focused on operational concerns rather than philosophical objections to digital marketing. When Tyler mentioned the 3-month trial period with no financial commitment, I saw Dad's expression shift slightly toward genuine interest. "What exactly would you need from me during this trial period?" Dad asked, looking directly at me rather than Helen or Tyler. "I don't have time to learn new computer systems or spend hours updating social media accounts." I had anticipated this concern and prepared a response that addressed his time constraints while emphasizing the minimal effort required on his part. "We would handle all the technical implementation and ongoing management," I explained. "Your only responsibility would be taking a few photos of completed work each week and letting us know about any special promotions or services you want to highlight." Helen reinforced this point by explaining how TechFlow's automotive marketing division would function as an extension of his existing business operations rather than an additional burden on his time. The goal was to enhance his current customer service capabilities without requiring him to learn new skills or change established routines. Tyler concluded the presentation by placing our proposal in the context of broader industry trends and competitive pressures. "Mr. Martinez, businesses that don't adapt to changing customer expectations are gradually losing market share to competitors who provide more convenient and accessible service options. This isn't about replacing traditional automotive skills with technology. It's about making sure potential customers can find and easily connect with your expertise." The room fell silent as Dad considered everything we'd presented. I could see him weighing the potential benefits against his natural skepticism about digital marketing and his preference for maintaining control over all aspects of his business operations. After what felt like several minutes, he looked up with an expression I couldn't quite interpret. "This trial period," he said slowly, "if I'm not satisfied with the results after 3 months, I can end it without any ongoing obligations or costs." Helen confirmed that the trial agreement included no long-term commitments and no cancellation fees. If Dad wasn't completely satisfied with the impact on his business, he could discontinue the services and return to his previous marketing approach without any financial consequences. "And Jessica would be managing this personally?" Dad asked, looking at me, with what might have been the beginning of respect. "This wouldn't be handed off to someone who doesn't understand automotive businesses." I assured him that I would personally oversee every aspect of the project, from initial website development through ongoing social media management and customer review systems. My involvement would ensure that all marketing materials accurately represented the quality and reliability that had made Martinez Auto Repair successful for 20 years. Dad stood up and walked to the window overlooking his work bays, where Daniel was visible installing brake pads on a customer's sedan. The sight of his older son continuing the family tradition seemed to provide some comfort, as he contemplated whether to trust his daughter's very different approach to business success. When he turned back toward us, his expression had shifted to cautious acceptance. "All right," he said, extending his hand toward Helen. "Let's try this for 3 months and see what happens. But I want weekly reports on what you're doing and monthly analysis of whether it's making any difference." The handshake that sealed our agreement felt like more than a business transaction. It represented Dad's first acknowledgement that my professional expertise might have value for his business, and my first opportunity to prove that digital marketing could enhance rather than threaten traditional automotive services. As Helen and Tyler gathered their presentation materials and prepared to leave, I felt a complex mixture of excitement and apprehension about what the next 3 months would bring. This project could either validate years of career choices that had created family tension, or it could confirm Dad's skepticism about digital marketing and further damage our relationship. Tyler lingered after Helen left, ostensibly to discuss implementation timelines but actually to provide personal support during what he recognized as an emotionally significant moment. "That went better than expected," he said quietly. "Your father is more open-minded than you thought he'd be." His observation was accurate but incomplete. Dad's willingness to try the trial program represented progress, but I knew that his ultimate judgment would be based entirely on measurable business results. If our marketing efforts didn't generate immediate improvements in appointment bookings and revenue, his skepticism about digital marketing would be permanently reinforced. The pressure to deliver exceptional results was intense, but Tyler's confidence in our approach provided reassurance during moments of doubt. "We have 3 months to prove that your expertise can transform your father's business," he reminded me. "That's more than enough time to demonstrate the value of professional digital marketing." As I drove home that evening, I felt cautiously optimistic about the potential for professional success and family reconciliation through this project. Dad had agreed to trust my judgment about marketing strategies, and I had the support of experienced colleagues who understood both the technical requirements and the personal stakes involved. The automotive marketing division would officially launch the following Monday, with Martinez Auto Repair as our flagship client and proof of concept. Everything I'd learned about digital marketing, consumer psychology, and customer engagement would be tested against the practical realities of a family business that had operated successfully for decades without technological enhancement. Tyler called that evening to congratulate me on the successful presentation and discuss next steps for project implementation. His enthusiasm was infectious, and our conversation gradually shifted from business planning to personal topics and shared excitement about future possibilities. The professional partnership we developed over the summer was evolving into something deeper and more meaningful. "This project is going to establish you as the leading automotive marketing specialist in the Southwest," Tyler predicted. "Once word gets out about the results you achieve for Martinez Auto Repair, every auto shop and dealership in Phoenix will want to work with you." His vision for my career trajectory was intoxicating in its scope and ambition. Instead of being limited to Phoenix's business community, I could become a regional expert with clients throughout Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada. The automotive marketing division could eventually expand into a standalone company with offices in multiple cities and a team of specialists working under my direction. These conversations with Tyler were seductive, not just because of the professional opportunities they suggested, but because of the personal validation they provided. After years of having my career choice questioned by family members, here was someone with genuine business expertise who believed in my potential for extraordinary success. The weekend before project launch, Tyler and I worked together at TechFlow's office, finalizing website designs and social media strategies for Martinez Auto Repair. The collaborative process felt natural and effortless, with both of us contributing ideas that enhanced the overall marketing approach. By Sunday evening, we had developed comprehensive campaigns that addressed every aspect of digital customer engagement. Looking at the finished materials spread across the conference table, I felt proud of what we'd created together. The new website was professional and user-friendly, with clear information about services, transparent pricing, and easy online appointment scheduling. Social media profiles showcased the shop's expertise through before and after photos of completed repairs, customer testimonials, and educational content about automotive maintenance. "Your father is going to be amazed by these results," Tyler said, reviewing the final materials one more time. 3 months from now, he'll be wondering why he waited so long to embrace digital marketing. His confidence was reassuring, but I knew that Dad's evaluation would be based on practical business metrics rather than aesthetic appeal of marketing materials. Increased appointment bookings, higher customer satisfaction ratings, and improved revenue would be the only measures of success that mattered to him. The challenge ahead was significant, but I felt prepared to meet it with the support of colleagues who understood both the technical requirements and the personal importance of achieving exceptional results. Martinez Auto Repair would become either a powerful validation of my professional capabilities or a painful confirmation of Dad's skepticism about digital marketing approaches. Either way, the next 3 months would determine not just the success of TechFlow's automotive marketing division, But the future of my relationship with the family business that had shaped my understanding of work, dedication, and the American dream my parents had pursued with such determination and sacrifice. The first month of the Martinez Auto Repair digital marketing campaign exceeded every projection we'd made during our presentation. Online appointment bookings increased by 68%, with customers specifically mentioning they'd found the shop through Google searches or social media posts. The new website generated 43 service inquiries in its first 3 weeks, compared to the previous monthly average of 12 phone calls from traditional advertising methods. Dad's reaction to these results was a mixture of amazement and grudging respect. During our weekly progress meetings, he'd study the analytics reports, with the same intense focus he applied to diagnosing engine problems. "These numbers are real?" he'd ask, pointing to graphs showing increased website traffic and social media engagement. "People are actually scheduling appointments through the computer?" The transformation was visible throughout the shop. Daniel mentioned that their appointment calendar was fuller than it had been in years, with new customers specifically requesting services they'd seen highlighted in our social media posts. Customer satisfaction scores improved as the online scheduling system eliminated the phone tag that had frustrated clients trying to arrange convenient service times. More significantly, the enhanced online presence was attracting younger customers who had previously chosen chain shops or franchise service centers. These new clients brought vehicles requiring specialized knowledge that showcased Dad's expertise in ways that traditional advertising never could. Social media posts featuring complex diagnostic work and custom repairs demonstrated capabilities that distinguished Martinez Auto Repair from generic competitors. Tyler's involvement in monitoring campaign performance was invaluable during this initial success period. He'd arrive at TechFlow early to review overnight analytics and suggest refinements to our targeting strategies. His excitement about the project's results seemed genuine, and his praise for my management of the campaign felt deeply meaningful after years of having my professional judgment questioned. "You're revolutionizing how automotive businesses connect with customers," he told me during one of our morning strategy sessions. "The case study you're building with your father's shop is going to establish you as the definitive expert in this specialized market." The success of the Martinez Auto Repair campaign was generating attention throughout Phoenix's business community. Helen received inquiries from other automotive businesses wanting similar marketing services, and industry publications began featuring articles about innovative approaches to digital customer engagement in traditional service sectors. Tyler suggested that we document the campaign's methodology and results in a comprehensive white paper that could serve as both a marketing tool for TechFlow's automotive division and a professional credential for my expertise in the field. The idea appealed to me because it would create tangible proof of my contributions to the family business's success. Working on the white paper required detailed analysis of every aspect of our marketing strategy, from initial website optimization through ongoing social media engagement and customer review management. Tyler provided research assistance and editorial feedback, helping me articulate the theoretical frameworks underlying our practical approaches. The collaborative process strengthened our professional partnership and personal relationship. We'd spend hours discussing consumer psychology theories and digital marketing trends, conversations that revealed Tyler's sophisticated understanding of business strategy and his genuine appreciation for my creative problem-solving abilities. During this period of professional success and personal happiness, I began to envision a future that combined career advancement with romantic fulfillment. Tyler's presence in my life provided validation that had been missing during years of family skepticism about my chosen profession. His confidence in my abilities encouraged me to pursue increasingly ambitious goals. The second month of the campaign brought even more impressive results. Martinez Auto Repair's revenue increased by 41% compared to the same period the previous year, with the majority of new business directly attributable to enhanced digital marketing efforts. Online reviews improved from an average of 3.2 stars to 4.7 stars, with customers praising both service quality and convenient scheduling options. Dad's attitude toward digital marketing underwent a fundamental transformation as these results became impossible to ignore. He started asking detailed questions about search engine optimization and social media algorithms, approaching these topics with the same methodical curiosity he applied to understanding automotive technology. "I underestimated how much the business world has changed," he admitted during one of our weekly meetings. Your approach is bringing in customers I never would have reached through traditional advertising. This acknowledgement felt like validation for every argument we'd had about the value of digital marketing. More importantly, it represented Dad's recognition that my professional expertise could benefit the business he'd spent decades building. The gap between our different approaches to work was finally beginning to close. Tyler was instrumental in helping me capitalize on this success by expanding TechFlow's automotive marketing division. His firm provided additional funding to hire specialized staff and develop proprietary software tools that would streamline campaign management for automotive clients. The expansion positioned me as director of a growing division with significant revenue potential. The promotion came with a substantial salary increase and equity participation in the division's future profits. For the first time in my career, I was earning enough money to consider purchasing my own home and making long-term financial plans that didn't depend on family support or employer stability. Tyler's role in orchestrating these opportunities made him seem like a mentor, business partner, and romantic interest simultaneously. His presence in my life represented everything I'd hoped to achieve professionally and personally. The combination of career advancement and emotional connection felt like the foundation for a meaningful future together. During late September, Tyler proposed taking our relationship to the next level by moving in together. He'd been spending most evenings at my apartment anyway, and sharing living expenses would allow us to afford a larger place in a more upscale neighborhood. The idea appealed to me both practically and emotionally. We found a modern townhouse in North Scottsdale, with 2 home offices that would allow us to work from home when necessary and entertain clients in an environment that projected professional success. The rent was significantly higher than what I'd been paying, but Tyler assured me that my increasing income from the automotive division would easily cover the additional expense. Moving in with Tyler felt like a natural progression of our relationship and a symbol of my growing independence from family expectations and limitations. The townhouse represented everything I'd worked toward since college: professional success, financial stability, and personal fulfillment with someone who understood and supported my ambitions. The 3rd month of the Martinez Auto Repair campaign concluded with results that exceeded our most optimistic projections. Revenue had increased by 52%, customer satisfaction ratings reached 4.9 stars, and the appointment calendar was consistently booked 2 weeks in advance. The campaign had transformed Dad's struggling business into one of the most successful automotive service providers in the Phoenix metro area. Dad's response to these final results was unreserved enthusiasm. "Jessica, what you've accomplished here is incredible," he said, reviewing the comprehensive performance report I'd prepared. "I owe you an apology for doubting the value of your work. You've probably saved this business." The moment felt like complete vindication for years of career choices that had created family tension. Dad's acknowledgement of my professional capabilities and his gratitude for the campaign's impact represented everything I'd hoped to achieve through the trial project. Tyler was equally thrilled with the results, both for their impact on TechFlow's automotive division and for their demonstration of my expertise in the specialized market we'd identified. "This case study is going to open doors throughout the Southwest," he predicted. "Automotive businesses in every major city will want to work with the person who achieved these kinds of results." The success report we prepared for Martinez Auto Repair became the cornerstone of TechFlow's marketing materials for the automotive division. The documented revenue increases, customer satisfaction improvements, and operational efficiency gains provided compelling evidence for the value of professional digital marketing services. Helen was so impressed with the campaign's results that she authorized expansion of the automotive division into a separate subsidiary, with me as president and Tyler's firm as the primary investor. The new company, Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions, would focus exclusively on serving car dealerships, repair shops, and related businesses throughout Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada. The promotion to company president represented the culmination of everything I'd worked toward since graduating from college. At 24, I would be running my own company with significant growth potential and the backing of experienced investors who believed in my vision for the automotive marketing sector. Tyler's role in creating these opportunities made him seem like the perfect partner for both professional and personal success. His business connections, strategic thinking, and financial resources complemented my creative abilities and industry expertise. Together, we appeared capable of building something significant in the rapidly evolving digital marketing landscape. The launch of Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions was scheduled for early November, with a celebratory event that would introduce the company to Phoenix's automotive business community. Invitations went out to dealership owners, service managers, and industry suppliers who could become potential clients or strategic partners. Dad agreed to speak at the launch event, sharing his experience as Southwest Automotive Marketing's first client and testifying to the dramatic results achieved through professional digital marketing services. His endorsement would provide credibility with traditional automotive businesses that might be skeptical of marketing companies without direct industry experience. The weeks leading up to the launch were intensely busy, with final preparations for office space, staff hiring, and client acquisition campaigns. Tyler handled investor relations and strategic partnerships, while I focused on service development and team building. Our collaboration felt seamless and productive, reinforcing my confidence in our personal and professional future together. During this period, I began to notice subtle changes in Tyler's behavior that seemed insignificant at the time but would later take on more troubling meaning. He became more controlling about my schedule, discouraging me from spending time with friends or family members who weren't directly related to business activities. "You need to focus on building Southwest Automotive Marketing," he'd say when I mentioned plans to have dinner with Maya or visit mom and dad on weekends. "This is a critical time for establishing your reputation in the industry. Social activities can wait until the company is more established." His advice seemed reasonable given the demands of launching a new business, and I interpreted his possessiveness as evidence of his commitment to our shared success. The intensity of his focus on professional goals matched my own ambitions, making his requests for prioritization feel supportive rather than restrictive. Tyler also began involving himself more directly in my work relationships, attending meetings with potential clients, and offering strategic input that sometimes conflicted with my instincts about campaign development. When I questioned his suggestions, he'd remind me of his investment background and experience with scaling successful companies. "You're incredibly talented creatively," he'd say, "but business development requires different skills that I've spent years perfecting. Trust my judgment on strategic decisions while you focus on the creative work you do best." This division of responsibilities felt logical and played to our respective strengths, but it gradually reduced my direct control over client relationships and business strategy. Tyler's confidence in his business acumen was persuasive, and his track record with successful investments seemed to validate his approach to company management. The launch event for Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions exceeded all expectations, with over 150 attendees representing every segment of the automotive industry in the Phoenix area. Dad's presentation about his experience as our first client was compelling and authentic, generating immediate interest from several potential clients. "6 months ago, I thought digital marketing was a waste of money," Dad told the audience. "Today, my business is more successful than it's been in years, entirely because of the expertise and dedication my daughter brought to solving our customer engagement challenges." His public endorsement of my professional capabilities felt like the ultimate validation of career choices that had created years of family conflict. The pride in his voice when he introduced me as president of Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions was everything I'd hoped to achieve through the Martinez Auto Repair campaign. Tyler's presentation about market opportunities and growth projections was equally impressive, demonstrating the sophisticated business analysis that had attracted me to him initially. His vision for expanding throughout the Southwest and eventually franchising our services to other markets captured the audience's imagination and generated enthusiasm for partnering with our company. The evening concluded with 12 signed letters of intent from automotive businesses wanting to begin marketing campaigns similar to what we'd achieved for Martinez Auto Repair. The immediate client acquisition validated our business model and provided revenue projections that exceeded our most optimistic forecasts. As we celebrated the successful launch at an upscale restaurant afterward, Tyler proposed a toast that seemed to encompass both professional achievement and personal commitment. "To Jessica Martinez, whose vision and determination have created something extraordinary that will change how automotive businesses connect with customers throughout the Southwest." The moment felt like the culmination of everything I'd worked toward since college. Professional success, family respect, financial security, and romantic fulfillment had aligned in ways that seemed almost too perfect to be sustainable. Tyler's presence in my life had catalyzed achievements that validated years of pursuing goals that others had questioned or dismissed. During the weeks following the launch, Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions signed contracts with 8 new clients and hired 3 additional staff members to handle the increased workload. The company's rapid growth attracted attention from industry publications and business journals, generating publicity that brought even more client inquiries. Tyler's management of our investor relationships and strategic planning allowed me to focus on creative campaign development and client service, a division of responsibilities that seemed to maximize our respective strengths. His business expertise complemented my marketing abilities, creating a partnership that appeared ideal for building a significant company. However, subtle signs of problems began emerging as the company's success generated increasing demands on my time and attention. Tyler became more insistent about controlling my schedule and limiting interactions with people he considered distractions from business priorities. His possessiveness extended to monitoring my communications with clients and staff members. "I'm protecting your reputation and the company's interests," he'd explain when I questioned his involvement in my professional relationships. "You're too trusting of people who might not have Southwest Automotive Marketing's best interests in mind." His concerns seemed reasonable given my relative inexperience with managing a growing company, and his investment background provided credibility for his warnings about potential problems with employees or clients. I interpreted his protective behavior as evidence of his commitment, our shared success, rather than attempts to control my decision-making. The first serious warning sign came during a client meeting with Mesa Valley Toyota, one of the largest dealerships in the Phoenix area. Tyler attended the presentation and repeatedly interrupted my explanations of campaign strategies to offer alternative approaches that contradicted the proposals I'd prepared. After the meeting, I confronted him about undermining my presentation in front of potential clients. "You made me look unprepared and indecisive," I said, frustrated by his interference with my professional responsibilities. Tyler's response was defensive and dismissive. "You were getting too technical for their comfort level. I was helping you communicate more effectively with decision-makers who care about results, not methodology." His explanation seemed plausible, but the pattern of interrupting my presentations and redirecting client conversations began happening more frequently. Tyler's involvement in my work relationships was gradually reducing my direct control over campaign development and client service, areas where I had the most expertise and experience. More troubling was his increasing control over the company's financial management. Tyler handled all investor communications and strategic planning, gradually assuming responsibility for budgeting and resource allocation decisions that affected my ability to deliver services to clients. When I asked to review financial statements or participate in investor meetings, Tyler would deflect my requests with explanations about protecting me from administrative burdens that would distract from creative work. "You're most valuable when you're focused on developing campaigns and managing client relationships," he'd say. "Let me handle the business side so you can do what you do best." This division of responsibilities seemed logical, but it meant I had limited visibility into the company's financial health or strategic direction. Tyler's control over investor relations and budgeting decisions effectively made him the final authority on all significant business matters, despite my title as company president. The situation became more concerning when I discovered that Tyler had signed agreements with new clients without consulting me about service requirements or campaign timelines. When I confronted him about making commitments I wasn't sure we could fulfill, his response revealed a troubling disregard for my professional judgment. "I understand client needs and market opportunities better than you do," he said coldly. "Your job is to execute the campaigns I negotiate, not to question my business decisions." This statement represented a fundamental shift in our relationship dynamic, from collaborative partnership to hierarchical control structure, where Tyler made strategic decisions and I implemented his directives. The change was gradual enough that I initially attributed it to stress from rapid company growth rather than deliberate manipulation. However, Tyler's behavior toward me became increasingly dismissive and controlling as Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions achieved greater success. He began criticizing my work in front of staff members and clients, undermining my authority as company president while positioning himself as the strategic leader who made the important decisions. The breaking point came during a staff meeting where Tyler announced strategic changes to our service offerings without consulting me or even informing me beforehand. When I questioned his unilateral decision-making in front of our employees, his response was brutal and humiliating. "Jessica, you're an excellent creative talent, but you don't understand business strategy at the level required to run a growing company," he said, speaking to me as if I were a subordinate employee rather than company president. "Your value is in campaign development, not strategic planning." The public humiliation in front of staff members I'd hired and trained was devastating both professionally and personally. Tyler's dismissal of my business capabilities contradicted everything he'd said about my strategic thinking and leadership potential during the months when he was courting my involvement in his investment plans. After the meeting, I demanded a private conversation to address what had happened and clarify our respective roles in the company. Tyler's response revealed the extent to which our relationship had shifted from partnership to control dynamic that I hadn't fully recognized. "You're being emotional about normal business decisions," he said dismissively. "If you want Southwest Automotive Marketing to succeed, you need to accept that I have more experience with scaling companies and managing investor relationships." His condescending tone and refusal to acknowledge my legitimate concerns about his unilateral decision-making made clear that our collaborative partnership had been replaced by a hierarchy where Tyler made all significant decisions while I implemented his directives without input or consultation. The realization that Tyler viewed me as a talented employee rather than an equal partner was devastating both professionally and romantically. Everything I'd believed about our relationship and my role in Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions was based on assumptions that Tyler had never explicitly confirmed or committed to honoring. More troubling was the recognition that Tyler's control over the company's financial management and investor relationships meant he could effectively force me out of the business I'd built with my expertise and reputation. Despite my title as president, the legal structure of the company gave Tyler's investment firm ultimate authority over strategic decisions and management changes. The next morning, I arrived at the office early to review company documents and understand the full extent of Tyler's control over Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions. What I discovered was worse than I'd feared. The legal agreements I'd signed during the company's formation gave Tyler's firm majority ownership and the right to replace management personnel at their discretion. My position as company president was entirely dependent on Tyler's approval, with no contractual protections against termination or reduction of responsibilities. The equity participation I'd been promised was contingent on performance metrics that Tyler's firm could define and evaluate unilaterally. Even more concerning was my discovery that Tyler had been negotiating with potential acquirers who were interested in purchasing Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions. The acquisition discussions had been ongoing for weeks without my knowledge, despite my role as company president and primary client relationship manager. When I confronted Tyler about these secret negotiations, his response confirmed my worst fears about his intentions for my role in the company's future. "The acquisition offers are too good to ignore," he said matter-of-factly. "The buyers are interested in our client base and proprietary systems, not necessarily in retaining current management." His casual dismissal of my importance to the company's operations and future success was stunning in its coldness. Tyler was treating Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions as a financial asset to be optimized and sold, rather than a business I'd built through my expertise and relationships with clients throughout the automotive industry. The betrayal was complete and devastating. Tyler had systematically gained control over every aspect of the company, while positioning me as an expendable creative talent whose services could be replaced by any competent marketing professional. My professional reputation and client relationships were being leveraged for his financial benefit, without regard for my contributions or future interests. That evening, I called Dad to discuss what was happening with Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions, hoping his business experience might provide perspective on my options for protecting my interests in the company I'd built. His response was immediate concern for both my professional and personal well-being. "Misha, this man is using you," Dad said bluntly. "He saw your talent and your success with our shop, then figured out how to control and profit from your abilities. You need to get away from him before he destroys everything you've worked for." Dad's assessment of Tyler's motivations was harsh but accurate. The man I'd trusted as a mentor, business partner, and romantic interest had systematically manipulated me into building a valuable company that he could control and eventually sell without regard for my contributions or interests. The next morning, I requested a meeting with Helen Rodriguez at TechFlow Solutions to discuss my options for extricating myself from Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions and potentially returning to my previous position. Helen's response was sympathetic but limited by legal and financial constraints. Tyler's firm has significant influence over TechFlow's operations through their investment relationship, Helen explained. I can't offer you protection from his decisions about Southwest Automotive Marketing without risking my own company's financial stability. The realization that Tyler's control extended beyond Southwest Automotive Marketing to TechFlow Solutions as well made clear that my professional options within Phoenix's digital marketing community were severely limited. His investment relationships and business connections gave him power to influence my career prospects throughout the regional market. During lunch that day, I met with Maya Thompson, my closest friend since college, to discuss the situation and explore options for moving forward. Maya's perspective as someone outside the business relationship provided clarity about the personal manipulation that had accompanied Tyler's professional control. Jess, he isolated you from friends and family while making you dependent on his approval and support, Maya observed. That's not love or partnership. That's control and manipulation designed to serve his interests at your expense. Her analysis helped me recognize patterns of behavior I'd interpreted as supportive, but were actually designed to increase my dependence on Tyler's validation and reduce my connections to people who might question his treatment of me. The sophisticated manipulation had been subtle enough that I'd attributed his possessiveness to commitment rather than control. That afternoon, I made the difficult decision to confront Tyler directly about his betrayal and demand clarification of my role in Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions going forward. The conversation took place in his office, with the door closed to prevent staff members from overhearing what I expected to be a heated discussion. Tyler, I know about the acquisition negotiations and your plans to sell the company, I said, trying to maintain professional composure despite my anger and hurt. I also understand that you've structured our business relationship to give yourself complete control while making me expendable. His response was colder and more dismissive than anything he'd said previously. Jessica, you're a talented creative professional, but you lack the business sophistication to understand complex strategic decisions. The acquisition opportunities represent the best outcome for all stakeholders, including you. When I pointed out that I'd built the company's reputation and client relationships through my expertise and dedication, Tyler's mask of professional courtesy dropped completely. You executed campaigns I developed and sold to clients I identified through market analysis. You couldn't have performed independently. Your contribution was implementation, not strategy. The conversation deteriorated rapidly from there, with Tyler making increasingly disparaging comments about my business capabilities and strategic thinking. His assessment of my contributions to Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions contradicted everything he'd said about my abilities during the months when he was positioning himself as my mentor and romantic partner. If you're not satisfied with your role in the company, you're welcome to pursue other opportunities, Tyler concluded, his tone making clear that he viewed my concerns as complaints from a dissatisfied employee rather than legitimate issues from a business partner. The meeting ended with Tyler's implicit ultimatum: accept my diminished role in the company I'd built, or leave and forfeit any claim to the success I'd created through my expertise and client relationships. Either option would benefit Tyler while leaving me professionally and financially damaged. That evening, I sat in our shared townhouse, surrounded by furniture and belongings that represented the life I'd thought we were building together, and recognized the full extent of Tyler's deception. Every aspect of our relationship had been calculated to serve his business interests while making me dependent on his approval and support. The man I'd trusted with my professional future and personal happiness had systematically gained control over every aspect of my life while positioning himself to profit from my talents and achievements. The betrayal was complete, devastating, and carefully orchestrated over months of apparent partnership and romance. The next morning would bring the confrontation that would shatter the last illusions about Tyler's intentions and lead to the words from my father that would hurt more than anything Tyler had done to manipulate and control my professional and personal life. The morning after my devastating confrontation with Tyler, I woke up in the townhouse we shared, staring at the ceiling and trying to process the complete collapse of everything I'd believed about my professional and personal life. The man sleeping beside me had systematically destroyed my career while pretending to love and support me. The company I'd built through my expertise and dedication was being sold out from under me by someone I'd trusted with my future. I couldn't stay in that house another moment. I quietly gathered essential belongings, loaded them into my Honda, and drove to the only place that had ever felt like unconditional sanctuary, my childhood home in Tempe. Mom was already awake, making coffee in the kitchen where I'd spent countless mornings before school, sharing dreams and concerns with the one person who'd always believed in my potential. "Misha, what's wrong?" she asked immediately, reading the devastation on my face. "You look like someone died." The story poured out of me in broken fragments, punctuated by tears of rage and humiliation. Mom listened without judgment, occasionally reaching across the table to squeeze my hand or push tissues toward me. When I finished explaining Tyler's betrayal and the loss of Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions, she was quiet for several minutes. "Your father needs to hear this," she said finally. "He trusted Tyler because you trusted Tyler. He needs to understand what kind of man he welcomed into our family's business." Dad arrived home from his morning run, looking relaxed and happy, the kind of contentment that comes from physical exercise and successful business operations. The Martinez Auto Repair campaign had transformed his professional life, providing financial security and renewed confidence in his ability to adapt to changing market conditions. Seeing me crying at the kitchen table immediately altered his expression to concern and protective anger. "What happened, Jessica? Did someone hurt you?" I explained Tyler's systematic manipulation and control, his secret negotiations to sell the company I'd built, and his dismissive attitude toward my contributions to Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions. As the details emerged, Dad's expression shifted from concern to fury to something I'd never seen before: complete disappointment in his own judgment. "I shook that man's hand," Dad said quietly, his voice heavy with self-recrimination. "I welcomed him into our business and trusted him with my daughter's future. I should have seen through his act." The conversation continued for over an hour, with both parents offering support and suggestions for moving forward. Dad was particularly angry about Tyler's manipulation of the Martinez Auto Repair success story to build credibility for a company he intended to sell without regard for my interests or contributions. "He used our family's business to establish himself in the automotive marketing industry," Dad observed. "Then he pushed you out of the company you created using our success as proof of concept. This is theft, Jessica. He stole your work and your reputation." Mom suggested consulting with an employment attorney to understand my legal options for challenging Tyler's control over Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions. Dad recommended documenting everything that had happened, including Tyler's promises about my role in the company and evidence of my contributions to its success. I spent the rest of that day at my parents' house, using their home office to compile emails, contracts, and performance records that demonstrated my central role in building Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions. The documentation process was emotionally exhausting, but necessary for understanding the legal and financial implications of Tyler's betrayal. That evening, Tyler called repeatedly, leaving increasingly angry voicemails demanding to know where I was and why I hadn't come home or reported to work. His messages revealed the extent of his sense of ownership over my time and activities, treating my absence as insubordination rather than a reasonable response to his betrayal. When I finally answered his call, Tyler's tone was coldly furious. "Jessica, you're acting like a child. Get back to the office immediately. We have client meetings scheduled, and your absence is unprofessional." I told him I wouldn't be returning to Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions, and that I was exploring legal options for protecting my interests in the company I'd built. His response was swift and devastating. "Fine. Consider yourself terminated. I'll have security pack your belongings and send them to whatever address you provide." The call ended with Tyler's final, cruel assessment of my value to the company we'd built together. "You were never as important as you thought you were, Jessica. Southwest Automotive Marketing will be more successful without your emotional instability and unrealistic expectations." I sat in my childhood bedroom that night, surrounded by belongings I'd hastily packed that morning, trying to comprehend how completely my life had been dismantled in less than 24 hours. The career I'd built over 3 years, the relationship I'd believed would lead to marriage, and the financial security I'd worked so hard to achieve had all disappeared because I'd trusted someone who saw me as a useful asset rather than a partner. The next morning brought even worse news. Maya called to tell me that Tyler had been spreading stories throughout Phoenix's business community about my emotional instability and unrealistic expectations regarding my role at Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions. He was systematically destroying my professional reputation while positioning himself as the rational businessman who'd been forced to terminate a difficult employee. "Jess, he's telling people you had a nervous breakdown and became impossible to work with," Maya reported. "Some of the clients from your automotive campaigns are asking questions about whether their contracts will be affected by your departure." Tyler's character assassination was devastatingly effective because it played into existing stereotypes about young women in business being too emotional for leadership responsibilities. His version of events positioned him as the experienced investor who'd tried to mentor a promising but unstable creative talent, only to be forced to make difficult personnel decisions when I couldn't handle professional responsibilities. Helen Rodriguez called that afternoon to express sympathy for my situation, but also to distance TechFlow Solutions from any controversy surrounding Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions. Tyler's investment relationship with her company made it impossible for her to publicly support my version of events or offer me refuge from his professional retaliation. "I'm sorry, Jessica, but I can't risk TechFlow's relationship with Richardson Capital Partners by getting involved in this dispute," Helen explained. "You're talented and you'll land on your feet, but I can't be seen as taking sides in this situation." The isolation was complete. Tyler's financial connections and business relationships gave him the power to control the narrative about our failed partnership, while preventing me from accessing the professional network I'd spent years building. His influence extended throughout Phoenix's digital marketing community, effectively blacklisting me from opportunities that might allow me to rebuild my career. That evening, I sat with Dad in his garage workshop, watching him rebuild an engine while trying to process the complete destruction of my professional life. The familiar sounds of mechanical work and the smell of motor oil provided comfort during the worst crisis I'd ever faced. "I don't understand how this happened," I confessed. "I thought I was smart about business and good at reading people. How did I let Tyler manipulate me so completely?" Dad looked up from his work, grease-stained hands holding a wrench, his expression more serious than I'd ever seen. "Jessica, you're asking the wrong question. The issue isn't how you got fooled by a professional manipulator. The issue is what you're going to do now that you understand what kind of person he really is." His response surprised me because I'd expected sympathy rather than challenge. Dad continued working on the engine while explaining his perspective on dealing with betrayal and professional setbacks. "When I started this business, I had partners who tried to cheat me out of my share of the profits," he said, not looking up from his work. "I could have spent years feeling sorry for myself and blaming them for being dishonest. Instead, I focused on building something they couldn't take away from me." The conversation continued past midnight, with Dad sharing stories about overcoming business challenges and professional betrayals that had shaped his approach to work and relationships. His message was consistent. Dwelling on Tyler's manipulation would waste energy that should be directed toward rebuilding my career on my own terms. "You have skills and knowledge that Tyler can't steal," Dad concluded. "He can control Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions, but he can't control your ability to create something better." The next few days were spent researching legal options for challenging Tyler's control over the company and exploring possibilities for starting a competing business. The attorney consultation was discouraging. Tyler's investment firm had structured their agreements to give them complete control over Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions, with minimal protections for my interests as company president. However, the attorney identified an important opportunity. The non-compete agreement I'd signed was narrowly written and might not prevent me from providing marketing services to automotive businesses outside the Phoenix metropolitan area. If I could establish operations in a different market, I might be able to rebuild my career without violating contractual restrictions. The conversation with my attorney also revealed something else. Tyler had been careless about intellectual property protections for the marketing methodologies and client acquisition strategies I'd developed. The approaches I'd used to achieve success with Martinez Auto Repair and other automotive clients weren't legally protected by Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions, meaning I could use similar techniques in a competing business. This discovery provided the first ray of hope I'd felt since Tyler's betrayal. While he controlled the company I'd built, he didn't own the expertise and knowledge I'd used to create that success. The methods that had transformed Dad's business could be applied to other automotive companies in markets where Tyler had no presence or influence. I spent the next week developing a business plan for an independent automotive marketing consultancy that would serve clients in markets outside Phoenix. The plan focused on smaller cities throughout Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada, where traditional automotive businesses were struggling with the same digital marketing challenges that had affected Martinez Auto Repair. The financial projections were modest but sustainable. Unlike Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions, which had required significant investor funding and overhead expenses, an independent consultancy could operate with minimal startup costs and grow organically through client success and referrals. Mom and Dad offered to provide initial funding for the new business, using savings they'd accumulated from Martinez Auto Repair's improved performance following our marketing campaign. Their support felt like more than financial assistance. It was validation that my professional skills had genuine value independent of Tyler's manipulation and control. "We believe in your abilities, Misha," Mom said when they presented their offer to fund the startup costs. "Tyler may have stolen your company, but he can't steal your talent or your knowledge. Use our investment to prove that you don't need him to be successful." The new business, Martinez Marketing Strategies, launched 3 weeks after my termination from Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions. The name honored my family's contribution to my professional development while establishing my independence from Tyler's influence and control. The first client was a small auto repair shop in Flagstaff, whose owner had heard about the Martinez Auto Repair success story through industry connections. The campaign I developed for them used refined versions of the strategies that had transformed Dad's business, achieving even better results due to lessons learned from the Phoenix market experience. Within 2 months, Martinez Marketing Strategies had signed contracts with 8 automotive businesses throughout northern Arizona and southern Nevada. Word-of-mouth referrals from satisfied clients generated a steady stream of inquiries from businesses that had struggled with ineffective traditional advertising methods. The success felt different from what I'd achieved with Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions. Instead of depending on Tyler's investor funding and business connections, I was building something entirely through my own expertise and client relationships. The financial returns were smaller initially, but the independence and control were invaluable. Tyler's attempts to interfere with my new business began almost immediately. He contacted several of my clients, claiming that I was violating non-compete agreements and suggesting that Martinez Marketing Strategies was operating illegally. His intimidation tactics were unsuccessful because my attorney had carefully structured the business to avoid contractual violations. More significantly, Tyler's interference backfired by generating publicity for Martinez Marketing Strategies throughout the automotive industry. Business journals wrote articles about the legal dispute, highlighting my role in developing innovative digital marketing approaches for traditional automotive businesses. The coverage positioned me as an expert who'd been unfairly treated by a manipulative investor. 6 months after starting Martinez Marketing Strategies, I received a call that would change everything. The caller was Sandra Chen, managing partner at Pinnacle Equity Partners, a Dallas-based investment firm that specialized in acquiring and scaling successful service businesses. "Ms. Martinez, we've been following your work with automotive marketing and the legal situation with Richardson Capital Partners," Sandra explained. "We're interested in discussing investment opportunities that would allow you to expand Martinez Marketing Strategies into a regional or national operation." The conversation revealed that Pinnacle Equity Partners had been researching the automotive marketing sector and had identified my approach as the most effective methodology for helping traditional businesses adapt to digital customer engagement. They were particularly impressed by the documented results I'd achieved for clients throughout the Southwest. "We believe there's significant potential for scaling your services to automotive businesses throughout the western United States," Sandra continued. "Our investment would provide the capital and infrastructure support needed to build a company that could compete with established marketing agencies in major metropolitan markets." The investment proposal was structured completely differently from Tyler's control-focused approach. Pinnacle Equity Partners offered to provide funding and operational support while allowing me to maintain majority ownership and complete control over strategic decisions. Their role would be advisory and supportive, rather than controlling. More importantly, Sandra's firm had identified an acquisition opportunity that would provide immediate access to a larger client base and established market presence. Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions was struggling under Tyler's management, with several major clients canceling contracts due to declining service quality and Tyler's abrasive personality. Richardson Capital Partners is looking to sell Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions, Sandra revealed. The company's performance has deteriorated significantly since your departure, and they're motivated to find a buyer quickly to minimize their losses. The irony was perfect. Tyler's betrayal and mismanagement had created an opportunity for me to acquire the company I'd originally built. Pinnacle Equity Partners' investment would provide the capital needed to purchase Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions and merge it with Martinez Marketing Strategies, creating a combined operation with regional market dominance. The acquisition process moved quickly due to Tyler's desperation to exit the automotive marketing business before suffering additional losses. Richardson Capital Partners had discovered that managing a service business required different skills from financial investment, and Tyler's attempts to impose corporate management structures on a relationship-based industry had alienated both clients and employees. Within 90 days of Sandra's initial call, the acquisition was complete. I found myself sitting in the same conference room where Tyler had humiliated me months earlier, but this time I was signing documents that made me the majority owner of the combined Martinez Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions. The moment of ultimate vindication came when Tyler was forced to report to me for a transition meeting required by the acquisition agreement. He entered the conference room looking diminished and uncomfortable, no longer the confident manipulator who'd controlled every aspect of my professional and personal life. "Tyler," I said, maintaining professional composure despite the satisfaction I felt, "I've reviewed the client contracts and operational procedures. Unfortunately, your management approach has created significant problems that will require immediate correction." His expression shifted through surprise, recognition, and finally resignation, as he realized the complete reversal of our power dynamic. The man who dismissed my business capabilities and treated me as an expendable employee was now dependent on my approval for his future involvement with the company he'd stolen from me. "I'm offering you a consulting position to help with the transition," I continued, delivering the words I'd dreamed of saying during months of professional exile. "However, your role would be limited to administrative support under my direct supervision. The strategic decisions and client relationships will be managed by people with actual expertise in automotive marketing." Tyler's face went through several expressions before settling on barely controlled anger. "Jessica, you can't be serious. I built this company's investor relationships and strategic partnerships. You need my business connections to maintain current contracts." His attempt to assert continued importance revealed how completely he'd misunderstood the situation. The clients and business relationships he claimed to control had either canceled their contracts or specifically requested to work directly with me following the acquisition announcement. "Actually, Tyler, most of our major clients are thrilled to be working with Martinez Marketing Strategies," I replied. "They signed with Southwest Automotive Marketing because of the campaigns I developed and the results I delivered. Your investor connections were never as important as you believed." The meeting continued for another 30 minutes, with Tyler gradually accepting the reality of his diminished position in the company he'd once controlled. His final desperate attempt to negotiate better terms for his consulting role provided the perfect opportunity to deliver the line I'd been waiting months to say. "Tyler, let me be clear about your value to this organization," I said, using the same cold tone he'd employed when terminating me. "You're welcome to accept the consulting position I've offered, or you can pursue other opportunities. But your days of making strategic decisions or controlling other people's careers are over." As Tyler gathered his belongings and prepared to leave the conference room, he turned back with one final attempt at manipulation. "You'll never be able to manage a company this size without experienced business leadership. You're making a mistake that will cost you everything you've gained." I smiled and delivered the response that completed my transformation from victim to victor. "Tyler, I already proved I can build a successful company without you. Now I'm going to prove I can run one better than you ever could. Consider this your termination notice." The door closed behind him, and I sat alone in the conference room that had witnessed both my greatest professional humiliation and my ultimate vindication. The company I'd built through my expertise and dedication was finally under my complete control, free from Tyler's manipulation and interference. That evening, I called Dad to share the news of Tyler's termination and my complete control over the merged automotive marketing company. His response reflected both pride in my accomplishment and satisfaction that justice had been served. "I'm proud of you, Mija," Dad said. "You turned the worst betrayal of your life into the foundation for something better than what you lost. That takes strength and intelligence that Tyler never understood." The conversation reminded me of something important. Tyler's betrayal had been devastating, but it had also forced me to develop independence and resilience that made my eventual success more meaningful than anything I could have achieved under his control. Martinez Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions flourished under my leadership, expanding throughout the western United States and becoming the dominant provider of digital marketing services for automotive businesses. The company's success validated my expertise while providing employment for over 40 people throughout the region. Tyler's attempts to rebuild his career in the investment industry were unsuccessful. Word of his mismanagement of Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions spread throughout Dallas and Phoenix financial communities, effectively ending his ability to attract investor capital or management opportunities. The professional reputation he'd built through manipulation and control was destroyed by the same lack of genuine expertise that had led to his downfall. More importantly, my personal recovery from Tyler's betrayal led to healthier relationships based on mutual respect rather than control and manipulation. I met David Hernandez, a civil engineer who specialized in sustainable transportation infrastructure, through a professional networking event. Our relationship developed slowly and honestly, built on shared interests and genuine compatibility. David's approach to partnership was completely different from Tyler's manipulation. He supported my career ambitions without trying to control or redirect them, offered advice when requested without imposing his judgment, and maintained his own professional identity, rather than seeking to merge our careers for his benefit. The contrast between David's respectful partnership and Tyler's controlling manipulation helped me recognize warning signs of unhealthy relationship dynamics that I'd previously missed or rationalized. The experience with Tyler had been devastating, but it had also provided education about protecting myself from future manipulation. 3 years after acquiring Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions, I received recognition as Small Business Owner of the Year from the Phoenix Chamber of Commerce. The award ceremony was attended by over 500 business leaders, including many who had witnessed Tyler's character assassination attempts following my termination. Dad and Mom were seated at the head table, beaming with pride as I accepted the award that validated years of career choices they'd initially questioned. The Martinez Auto Repair success story had evolved into something much larger, proof that expertise and integrity could overcome manipulation and betrayal. During my acceptance speech, I thanked my parents for their unwavering support during the darkest period of my professional life, and acknowledged the lessons learned from overcoming betrayal by someone I'd trusted. The speech concluded with advice for other entrepreneurs facing similar challenges. Sometimes the people who hurt us most deeply also give us the opportunity to discover our true strength, I said, looking out at an audience that included several automotive business owners whose success had been built through campaigns developed by my company. Tyler Richardson tried to steal my career and destroy my reputation. Instead, he forced me to build something better than anything I could have achieved under his control. The standing ovation that followed felt like validation not just for my business success, but for the resilience and determination that had transformed Tyler's betrayal into the foundation for greater achievement. The worst experience of my professional life had become the catalyst for everything I'd accomplished since. Martinez Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions continued growing, expanding into adjacent markets and developing new services that helped traditional businesses adapt to changing customer expectations. The company's success provided employment and career development opportunities for dozens of people while serving hundreds of automotive businesses throughout the western United States. Tyler's prediction that I would fail without his guidance and control had been proven completely wrong. The company he'd tried to steal and sell was now worth 10 times more than the price Richardson Capital Partners had accepted for it. His betrayal had cost him millions of dollars in potential returns while providing me with the motivation needed to achieve extraordinary success. The story of Martinez Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions became a case study taught in business schools throughout the Southwest, illustrating how expertise and integrity could overcome manipulation and financial advantage. My experience proved that controlling behavior and sophisticated manipulation were ultimately no match for genuine talent and determination. Sometimes the cruelest betrayals become the foundation for our greatest achievements. Tyler Richardson thought he could use my talents to build wealth for himself while discarding me when I was no longer useful. Instead, his betrayal taught me that I didn't need anyone's approval or support to create something extraordinary. The words, "You'll never amount to anything," had been intended to break my spirit and keep me under Tyler's control. Instead, they became the challenge that motivated me to prove exactly how much I could accomplish when freed from manipulation and given the opportunity to build something entirely my own. 5 years after firing Tyler Richardson from my own company, I stood before the floor-to-ceiling windows of my corner office in downtown Austin, watching the sunrise paint the Texas hill country in shades of gold and amber. The view was breathtaking. But what filled me with the deepest satisfaction wasn't the luxury or prestige of my success. It was the knowledge that every achievement, every milestone, every moment of triumph had been earned through my own determination and expertise, free from manipulation or control by anyone who saw me as a means to their ends. Martinez Automotive Marketing Solutions had become the largest specialized automotive marketing firm in the southwestern United States, with offices in 6 cities and over 200 employees, who shared my passion for helping traditional businesses thrive in the digital age. The company's success had exceeded every projection I'd made during those dark months, when Tyler's betrayal had forced me to rebuild my career from nothing. The transformation hadn't happened overnight. After acquiring Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions and firing Tyler, I'd spent years methodically building a company culture based on transparency, collaboration, and genuine respect for every team member's contributions. The contrast with Tyler's manipulative leadership style was intentional and fundamental to everything we accomplished. My employees knew their ideas would be heard and credited appropriately. Junior staff members were encouraged to challenge senior leadership when they identified better approaches to client challenges. Financial performance data was shared openly with everyone in the company, creating accountability and shared investment in our collective success. These policies weren't just idealistic principles. They were practical strategies that attracted exceptional talent and generated extraordinary results for our clients. The automotive industry had continued evolving rapidly throughout the digital transformation, and Martinez Automotive Marketing Solutions had positioned itself at the forefront of every major trend. We'd developed proprietary software platforms that integrated customer relationship management with social media engagement and online reputation systems. Our campaigns consistently achieved results that exceeded industry benchmarks, generating measurable revenue increases for clients across every segment of the automotive market. More importantly, the company had become a catalyst for broader changes throughout the automotive service industry. The methodologies we'd pioneered with Martinez Auto Repair had been refined and adapted for dealerships, specialty repair shops, parts suppliers, and custom modification businesses. Our case studies were featured in trade publications and business journals, establishing new standards for digital customer engagement in traditional service sectors. Dad's original auto repair shop had become our flagship success story, still operating in Tempe, but now serving as a model for how family businesses could embrace technological innovation without sacrificing the personal relationships that made them special. Daniel had taken over day-to-day operations, while Dad focused on consulting with other shop owners who wanted to modernize their customer engagement strategies. The family business that had once been struggling to pay monthly expenses now generated annual revenue exceeding $2 million, with appointment calendars consistently booked weeks in advance. More significantly, Martinez Auto Repair had become a destination for automotive enthusiasts who appreciated the combination of old-school craftsmanship and modern convenience that our marketing campaigns highlighted. Mom and Dad had used the financial success to travel extensively, visiting destinations they'd only dreamed about during the lean years, when every dollar was committed to keeping the business afloat. Their trip to Spain the previous summer had been particularly meaningful, allowing Dad to reconnect with relatives he hadn't seen since immigrating to America decades earlier. The personal healing that had accompanied professional success was equally significant. The experience with Tyler had taught me to recognize manipulation and control disguised as support and mentorship. My relationship with David Hernandez had developed into a partnership based on mutual respect, shared goals, and genuine appreciation for each other's independence and achievements. David's work in sustainable transportation infrastructure complemented my focus on helping traditional businesses adapt to changing market conditions. We often collaborated on projects that involved automotive businesses transitioning to electric vehicle services or renewable energy solutions. Our professional synergy enhanced both of our careers without creating the power imbalances that had made Tyler's manipulation possible. We'd been married for 2 years in a ceremony that celebrated both of our families' contributions to our success. Dad had walked me down the aisle with tears in his eyes, and his toast at the reception had acknowledged the strength I'd shown in overcoming Tyler's betrayal and building something extraordinary from the wreckage of that experience. My daughter taught me that business success isn't just about working hard, Dad had said, raising his glass to the assembled guests. It's about working smart, treating people fairly, and never giving up when someone tries to convince you that you're not capable of achieving your dreams. The wedding had been attended by clients, employees, and industry colleagues who had supported my recovery from Tyler's professional sabotage. Several automotive business owners shared stories about how our marketing campaigns had transformed their operations and provided financial security for their families. Their testimonials felt more meaningful than any business award or industry recognition. Tyler's attempts to rebuild his career had been consistently unsuccessful. Word of his mismanagement and manipulative behavior had spread throughout the investment and business consulting communities, effectively ending his ability to attract clients or secure employment with reputable firms. The professional reputation he'd built through years of careful networking and strategic positioning had been destroyed by his own actions and their consequences. Occasionally, former colleagues would mention seeing Tyler at industry events, usually trying to pitch consulting services to businesses that were unaware of his history with Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions. These encounters always ended badly when potential clients discovered the truth about his role in the company's near collapse and his treatment of the employees who'd built its initial success. The justice felt complete but not vindictive. Tyler's downfall had been caused by his own choices and character flaws, not by any deliberate action on my part. I'd focused entirely on building something positive, rather than seeking revenge or trying to accelerate his professional destruction. His failure was simply the natural consequence of trying to succeed through manipulation, rather than genuine expertise and ethical behavior. The growth of Martinez Automotive Marketing Solutions had created opportunities to give back to the business community that had supported my recovery. We'd established scholarship programs for students pursuing degrees in marketing, business, or automotive technology. The scholarships were specifically targeted toward first-generation college students whose families worked in traditional trades or service industries. Additionally, the company provided pro bono marketing services to small businesses owned by veterans, single parents, or entrepreneurs who lacked the financial resources to afford professional campaigns. These community service projects allowed our staff to develop new skills while making meaningful contributions to local economic development. The scholarship recipients and pro bono clients often became our most enthusiastic advocates, sharing their success stories through social media and industry networks. Their testimonials generated more valuable publicity than any paid advertising campaign, demonstrating the power of authentic relationships and genuine service to community needs. My speaking engagements at business conferences and university events had become opportunities to share lessons learned from overcoming professional betrayal and building sustainable success. The message was always the same: expertise and integrity will ultimately prevail over manipulation and control, but only if you're willing to persist through the difficult periods when everything seems lost. Young entrepreneurs frequently approached me after these presentations, sharing their own experiences with manipulative partners, controlling investors, or toxic workplace relationships. Their stories reminded me that Tyler's behavior wasn't unique. Similar predators existed throughout the business world, targeting talented people who could be exploited for financial gain. These conversations reinforced my commitment to maintaining Martinez Automotive Marketing Solutions as a company where such behavior would never be tolerated. Our hiring processes included specific screening for candidates who showed signs of manipulative or controlling tendencies. Our corporate policies explicitly protected employees from retaliation for reporting inappropriate behavior or challenging management decisions. The industry recognition that followed our continued success felt satisfying but secondary to the more meaningful validation that came from client success stories and employee satisfaction surveys. Being named Entrepreneur of the Year by the Southwest Business Journal was an honor, but it was more important that our employee retention rate exceeded 90% and our client renewal rate approached 100%. These metrics reflected the company culture we'd built through intentional policies and consistent leadership behavior. People wanted to work for Martinez Automotive Marketing Solutions because they knew their contributions would be valued and their professional development would be supported. Clients remained loyal because they achieved measurable results and received exceptional service from teams who were genuinely invested in their success. The contrast with Tyler's approach to business relationships was stark and instructive. His focus on short-term financial extraction had created unstable partnerships that collapsed as soon as people recognized his true intentions. Our emphasis on long-term value creation had generated sustainable relationships that strengthened over time and produced compounding benefits for everyone involved. The personal transformation that had accompanied professional success was equally significant. The experience with Tyler had forced me to develop emotional intelligence and relationship skills that made me a better leader, partner, and friend. I'd learned to recognize red flags that indicated potential manipulation, but more importantly, I'd learned to trust my own judgment and maintain confidence in my abilities, regardless of external validation or criticism. These lessons had applications far beyond business relationships. The same principles that protected me from professional manipulators also helped me build stronger friendships, maintain healthier family dynamics, and create a marriage based on mutual respect rather than codependency or control. The ripple effects of Tyler's betrayal had ultimately strengthened every aspect of my life, though the growth had come through painful lessons that I wouldn't wish on anyone. The experience had taught me that resilience wasn't just about surviving difficult circumstances. It was about using those circumstances as catalysts for becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable than you were before the crisis occurred. Looking back on the journey from Tyler's termination notice to my current position as CEO of a thriving company, I could see that every setback had contained seeds of future success. His attempt to steal my work had forced me to develop independence and self-reliance that made my eventual achievements more meaningful. His dismissal of my capabilities had motivated me to prove him wrong in ways that exceeded my original ambitions. The phone call that had started everything, when Sandra Chen from Pinnacle Equity Partners had offered to fund my acquisition of Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions, had come exactly when I needed it most. But that opportunity had only been possible because I'd spent months building Martinez marketing strategies and demonstrating my ability to succeed independently. The lesson was clear. Opportunities often arrive precisely when we've prepared ourselves to recognize and capitalize on them. Tyler's betrayal had forced me to develop skills and knowledge that made the acquisition possible. His mismanagement had created the circumstances that made Southwest Automotive Marketing Solutions available for purchase. His character flaws had generated the motivation I needed to pursue extraordinary success. The story had come full circle in ways that felt both surprising and inevitable. The company Tyler had tried to steal and sell had become the foundation for achievements that exceeded anything either of us had imagined during our initial partnership. His prediction that I would fail without his guidance and support had been proven spectacularly wrong. The success of Martinez Automotive Marketing Solutions had validated not just my professional capabilities, but also the values and principles that guided my approach to business and relationships. Transparency, collaboration, and genuine service to client needs had proven more effective than manipulation, control, and short-term profit maximization. As I prepared for another day of leading a company that employed hundreds of people and served thousands of automotive businesses throughout the Southwest, I felt grateful for every aspect of the journey that had brought me to this point. Even Tyler's betrayal, as painful as it had been, had contributed to creating something better than anything I could have achieved under his control. The sunrise was complete now, and Austin was awakening to another day of possibilities and challenges. Somewhere in the city, other entrepreneurs were facing their own versions of the obstacles I'd overcome. Some would discover strength they didn't know they possessed. Others would learn that the people they trusted most were not worthy of that trust. All of them would have the opportunity to choose how they responded to betrayal, setbacks, and apparently insurmountable challenges. The choice between bitterness and growth, between revenge and building something better, would determine not just their professional futures, but the kind of people they became through the process. My choice had been to transform Tyler's cruelest words into the motivation for my greatest achievements. His dismissive statement that I would never amount to anything had become the challenge that drove me to create something extraordinary. The termination notice he delivered with such contempt had freed me to build a company that reflected my values and served my vision for how business relationships should work. The journey from that devastating day in Tyler's office to this moment of reflection and gratitude had taught me that our greatest triumphs often emerge from our deepest defeats. The key was maintaining faith in our own capabilities and continuing to work toward meaningful goals, even when success seemed impossible. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.